Joining us on the show once again today, a man who I can call a returning champion now to this podcast. Of course, a man you all know best as the head coach of the reigning NCAA Women's Team Championship winning team. Welcome back onto our show, Texas A&M Women's Tennis Head Coach Mark Weaver. Coach, it is always good to see your smiling face. Welcome back to the program. How are you and the Aggies feeling as we get ready for the Sweet 16?
Yeah, we're doing good. Appreciate you having me on the show here, Alex. And yeah, we're doing good. It's been a long, strenuous season, and we couldn't be happier with where we are at this point going forward as we get down here to the final stretch. So yeah, the Aggies are doing good.
Yeah, no, obviously it's been so fun to follow your team all year long. And just big picture before we break down 2025, this is a sixth consecutive Sweet 16 for your program. What does, as someone who played at A&M, what does that mean to you? What does that mean? What does that say about this program, that sort of consistency now for a half decade plus?
Yeah, I'm proud of the consistency of our program. I think it's definitely something that should not be taken for granted. So, yeah, it's something I'm very proud of, and just excuse me, but just something that we work very hard at. It all starts with the recruiting and getting the right kids here, and just putting in the hard work each and every day. I can't recall the last time where we didn't bring it every day in the practice. I think the consistency of how we get after it, on the court and in the gym, along with bringing in the right kids and having the right culture here. I think that's a big reason why we've been able to be so consistent over the years and just putting ourselves in a great position towards the end of the season.
Yeah. No, and by the way, for fans wondering, I imagine you were choking up just the memories of the 6 years there. It overwhelms you at a moment like that. And something else that stands out. And look, I pride myself, as I have said multiple times in this series already. When I write my book, it's more than Isner, the complete history of college tennis. I will talk. There will be some part of a chapter about this run that your team has been on, and wrapping up this weekend, 70 consecutive victories at home. That's crazy. I mean, and obviously there have been many a moments where that streak has been tested and so many different players over the years contributing to those 70 wins. But have you taken a moment to reflect on 70? Like 70, that's insanity.
Yeah, it is insanity. Yeah, I believe it's been over 4 years now since we've lost it home, and yeah, it's maybe one of my most achievements I'm most proud of, and because there's been so many close battles. I mean, we're in the SEC, there's just so many tough matches, and we've generally played a pretty tough, out of conference schedule over the years, and some years stronger than others. But yeah, even just the second round match against Santa Barbara, that's a very close match. We played Georgia for the conference title, and that point literally was decided by like 1 point. And yeah, it's a streak that just hopefully we can keep going. So yeah, I think it's really helped just kind of build our fan base out here. Just that's something everybody wants to be a part of. In some ways, I feel like they must want to be part of that more than the six straight Sweet 16. So the Aggies love teams that win, and it's been kind of neat to just kind of see our fan base been building over the years. We've always had a great one, and we're getting more and more new faces out at the matches.
Have you allowed yourself to look at a record book and try and find the record?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know North Carolina had a pretty long streak there for a while. Yeah, there's probably, I think Ohio State on the men's side had a pretty good run there for a while. And yeah, my guess is we probably have the current most longest win streak if I had to guess. So.
Yeah, I would as well. And yeah, certainly again the fans and of the 70 wins, is the Georgia win to end the regular season in the top five?
Yeah, that's definitely in the top five. That might be number one. We had played them just maybe 2 years back, I believe. That was for the conference title as well. Kind of similar type matches. I believe we won that one 5-2, but the last two matches were 7-6 in the third set. And yeah, I believe that we clinched it maybe at three with Mia Kupris in a tiebreaker, and I think Salma Ewing got us to 5-2 in a tiebreaker. And then yeah, just a few weeks ago, Luciana Perez. It was a wild finish. I don't know who all was able to see it, but we were up 5-2, 40 love serving for it all, and we were playing with a pretty nasty wind, and we hit a great serve, and Mert kind of mishit the return, and it looked like it was going to go out about 99 times out of 100, and then the College Station wind just decided to blow it in, and the whole team starts running out on the court, and before you know it, the ball stays in. We lose a point, and we lose 11 straight points. And Luciana ultimately bounced back, and we were able to pull it out there at the end again. So,
No, so impressive. Certainly. Was it the Tennessee match last year? 2 years ago? I forget which one it was. There have been a bunch of good ones over the years. I'd throw that in my personal top five, just in case you were curious. And yeah, I mean, again, I wrote. I was asked to participate in a roundtable for tennis recruiting to talk forecast the postseason, and something I made a point to write about is what you and Georgia have been on this half-decade journey of SEC championships and obviously indoor final, NCAA final. You guys have played everywhere. The thing I joked about is the only thing missing to make this the greatest rivalry in college tennis history is you guys like each other too much. Like there's just too much respect across the sides between
yeah.
the two. But what has that rivalry meant throughout the course of this run, and to have already played them again 3 times here this season, just what sort of benchmark has that matchup meant to your program this half decade?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. It seems like the coaches, we all kind of get along pretty well. Our girls are like very good friends with their girls, so it is kind of an interesting dynamic. But yeah, we've kind of been the one and two teams, I guess, for a while now. And yeah, I like to equate it to some of the kind of the pro rivalries over the years. I think it's great when, a team can push each other or an individual pushes each other. And yeah, we've had so many exciting matches, whether it's SEC regular season, SEC tournament, National Indoor Finals, NCAA Finals. We'd sure love to play them again in the finals this year. I would take that. I'm sure they would as well. But yeah, it's just, I think, just pushing each other. When you're out in a practice, maybe you've been there all day and you're kind of getting to the end and you're running, your tank's getting empty. Maybe you have George in the back of your head of, hey, we better get a little bit better today. But yeah, there's obviously some other great teams out there, and we both have a lot of work to get to there. But yeah, I would love to play them again in the finals if that's possible.
I think enough time has passed. I'm not going to get in trouble for saying it. Like the best rivalry of my lifetime was USC Virginia, and the thing was Brian and Peter didn't love each other. Again, there was not a lot of love lost in those matchups, certainly. And yeah, again, you and Drake, two just nice guys, get along. The other thing, I blame Mary because everyone likes Mary. Like, how can you not like Mary? And so it's hard to have that extra dose. But no, it's been a special rivalry. So fun to watch it play out. Obviously, there's been a lot else that has happened this year for the Aggies. You guys now at this point of the season again entering the round of 16. Another very impressive campaign, 27-3 overall. How I mean, you hear people talk about it in so many sports. Winning one is really hard. Winning two is damn near impossible. How has the weight of last year impacted this season? Like, have you felt a hangover effect just because it's so much intense tennis over such a short period of time?
Yeah, I do feel like we were playing with a lot of pressure on ourselves this season, but I feel like in some ways it maybe hurt us at times, and then in some ways it's kind of helped us to always kind of, be ready to compete. When you're the defending national champions, everybody's gunning for you. Everybody love to say they beat the defending national champions, and the way we're able to make it to the finals of the national indoors, although we lost to Georgia there, that was our biggest achievement there so far, and so that was really nice to see. You like to feel like our team got better since last year. I feel that we have. I honestly feel like everyone in our lineups playing as good of tennis as ever, if not better. So yeah, just definitely one of our mottos of just getting better. And I think the Vanderbilt loss we had, we faced some tough conditions there with some travel and just how the match played out. And I think ultimately we were playing with far too much pressure. So of course we didn't want to lose that match, but I do feel like that helped us there. Vanderbilt played a great match and came up with the big shots there at the end. But it's kind of one of those things where you lose, you get home, and you realize everything in the world is just fine, and we were able to kind of reset and take a loss there, and I feel like we kind of refocused after that, and yeah, it's been a different feel to it this year. But yeah, I couldn't be happier with how we've kind of handled everything. It's the first time we've all have been through this, and I feel like we've been able to do a great job of managing the expectations. There are definitely a lot of high expectations here in Aggie Land, and I know the girls have felt it, but I think we've really overcome all those. Just put our heads down and worked hard like we always do.
14-1 through the SEC regular season in what was obviously a loaded SEC season. I've used this example a couple of times because there are 6 of you still left in the Sweet 16. Tennessee was 10 in the country. They were the 7th seed at the SEC tournament. What was it like to navigate that this season? And obviously you all made the decision to play everyone with a year of reflection. How do you reflect upon that decision?
Yeah, boy, it was brutal this year to come out 14-1 like we did, and yeah, I guess the only one we lost was kind of a wild one there in Vanderbilt, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough for me to say we need to revisit it when we did so well, but I do feel like we all really felt the wear and tear of the travel and the matches. I think a lot of the other coaches felt that way. I think maybe it's something we may have to revisit, but you ultimately want to play the best. You're playing the best teams every weekend. But yeah, you date it back to we basically started, I believe we played Texas and Austin somewhere in late February, and then you just go kind of full speed ahead, all the way up till close to the end of April, and then you go straight in the SEC tournament. So I'm very pleased with how we handled it all. We were traveling just so much there, and then you kind of add in like a split weekend as well, where you're playing home and away. And yeah, no, by the way, the girls actually do have to pass their classes somewhere in between. So, but yeah, speaking of that, our girls have finished up their finals, and boy, they're in great mood. So it's nice to get that out of the way. But yeah, it's been a brutal season with making the good run at the indoors and making it to the end of the SEC tournament. We've played a ton of matches and we definitely are match tough, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, all of you. I mean, again, 6 into the Sweet 16 speaks to the success of the conference. And, through all of that conference play, a couple of big numbers that stand out. I want to start with the new piece here this season. Lexington Reed goes 10-1 in SEC play. Again, talking through the rigor of the conference, Florida, Alabama in by rankings, but of course under that 500 rule for the NCAA tournament because of the rigors of that season. What allowed her to be so successful right away? And dare I say, allows her to play this sort of level of tennis to end this season.
Yeah, she's been awesome for us this year. A lot of the time, she's been the first one on the court, off the court as well. So, when you get the doubles point, which you've been able to do quite a bit, not all the time, but, you get the doubles point and she's getting a quick win at singles, getting us to 2-0. And yeah, on the other hand of that, too, when we have lost the doubles point, a lot of the time she's gotten off her court pretty quick as well and gotten us right back to 1-all. Lexington's just so well composed out on the court. She's just really, really even keel, every day in practice, every day in the matches. And obviously she's feeling nerves out there just like anyone else. But just, I think her composure really speaks volumes for a freshman, not being afraid on the big moments, on the big stage. And even this within the matches, the big points, she's relatively aggressive type player and just being able to step up and say, hey, I'm going to go for my shots here on this 5-4 deuce point or whatever it may be, and she doesn't back away in the big moments, and she rebounds really well. After maybe it's a tough second set loss or whatever, she's just kind of uses that 5 minutes to reset her mind, and yeah, it's just not a lot of ups and downs with her, and yeah, she's done a great job for us. She's had a very impressive season, and even the doubles as well. She's really improved her doubles. She's a tall girl, and oftentimes juniors coming out of high school, junior they don't really quite know how to play doubles all that well, and when you get to college, that's kind of when they really learn how to play doubles, especially in the college format. And Lexington's really done a great job in the doubles and has really improved that as well.
Yeah, no, a heck of a freshman season. And, on the topic of doubles, 20-9 in SEC play. That's solid. That's very, again, that's a 2-1. That's doubles point. Um,
Yeah.
and yet you did play around a little bit at times with that lineup this year. Do you feel like you have your pairings for the rest of this NCAA tournament? Might you consider a late switch because something's going down in practice? Like, have you guys considered tinkering at all?
Well, I like where we are right now. We've done pretty well in the doubles overall for the most part. Ultimately, I think we went 0-3 against Georgia, and I think we went 0-2 against Auburn, I believe, and we just didn't seem to be getting the point a lot against some of the top teams, especially the teams that play really good doubles. So we switched it around a little bit. We put Eminem back at one, Mary and Mia. They've only had played one prior match this season against TCU back in February, but yeah, they've been one of the best doubles teams in the country for the last couple of years. So that's kind of been an easy transition for them. And yeah, we got Lexington and Daria together here. They're a bit of a contrast in pairings, but yeah, they played in the fall some and had a pretty successful fall. And yeah, then Nicole Kieran and Luciana Perez are at three now, and they played a little last year and didn't really do quite as well as we thought they would do, and then we took them apart there, and yeah, they're playing really well. So we feel like at all three positions, yeah, I feel that feel pretty strong with where we are.
Yeah, no, the numbers certainly speak for themselves. And, Ken, you mentioned Eminem. Let's go with the first M in this edition, Mary, who obviously, look, her, Jeanette, just this senior class in general, the success they have had in their 4 years. Talk to me about, I mean, what's it been like to coach this group given the experience? Like that you had so many people coming back, that Lexington's really the only piece who hadn't contributed in meaningful ways to a national championship roster. How has that continuity played out in relation to your job this season?
Yeah, it's one of those things where everybody kind of knows what to expect. A freshman comes in and even though they work hard in the junior level, I think oftentimes at college it's a bit of a shock to the system. By the time you do the private hits in the morning like we do, and you go to class for a few hours and you do the team practice and then you do your fitness, and before you know it, the day's gone through, and that it's a tough schedule to manage. So I think just from the simplest of points there, yeah, the upperclassmen, their minds and their bodies are kind of used to it all, and just the way we travel. Like Lexington is probably a bit of a shock to her system to see how we travel and how long the trips are, and getting used to different situations on the road and the conditions. And but yeah, I think that a lot of that experience that we've had, and yeah, we've had a new coaching staff here with James Wilson and Tommy Milnikov. They've been awesome. I truly believe I have the best two assistants in the country, and it's never easy bringing in new coaches, and they've just done a great job of connecting with the girls and working with the girls the way that we do it here, and taking them to the pro events in the fall. And it is a lot to manage this season when you've got Mary Struana's 270 WTA trying to get her pro tournaments. Luciana Perez is right around 400, and yeah, it's been a lot to manage, and Mia Cooper's top 200 in doubles, just finding ways to make everything work. So
No, it's funny. The newest part of the team this year is the coaching staff, not the roster itself. And yeah, again, they have been excellent. And speaking of your assistants, I know you're focused on you, but the job Jordan has done this year, did you expect it was going to happen that fast for him at Auburn? I mean, you got a front row seat to obviously all he helped you accomplish in College Station. Just can you talk about the job he has done this year, what you've seen from afar?
yeah, he's done a great job. I knew Jordan would get them to a top 10 level. To do it so quickly, I think he definitely deserves a lot of credit. Auburn historically has been a very strong program, and he did inherit DJ Bennett, who's one of the best in the country, and Okatoy has always been good. She seems like she's improved since her previous seasons, and yeah, he brought in a couple good transfer and a couple really good incoming freshmen. Yeah, Jordan's a great recruiter, and he's a very hard worker, and yeah, I mean he knows what it takes to get to a championship level. He's been here with me for it was 6 or 7 year stretch there. So yeah, I think to do it so quickly that it really speaks to he's a great work ethic, and yeah, he's done a great job this year.
Was it a fun first handshake before the match when you guys faced off this year? Little fun in it?
Yeah, those things don't bother me much at all. I don't think much about it. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. That was similar to when Howard Jaffe and I worked here for 4 years. Howard and I, great friends, and of course it's different when you're competitors. And he's at University of Texas. I'm at Texas A&M. Is not a bigger rivalry than that, but those things don't bother me all that much. But it is obviously it's a different feel to it. So
For my sake, let it bother you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no. Again, it's a credit to the coaching tree continuing to grow. This season, obviously, a lot of good matches for your group. Was there a victory this season you were particularly proud of? Was there a moment this season, a match where you feel like you learned the most about this team? What stands out to you?
yeah, I mean, I hate to bring up the Georgia match again here because we've already spoken about it, but yeah, I would say to this point, that was the highlight for the season so far. To be able to do it on your home courts, I guess we've clinched it once before on our home courts. A couple other two times, I believe, we're on the road, and it's nothing like being able to celebrate at home. And the fact that it did come down to the last match as well, that's probably. And we just had an amazing crowd. I bet we had close to 1,000 people, and it was just a fun, exhilarating atmosphere. So that's definitely stands out to me so far this season.
Yeah, a lot of good highlights to pick from. Hopefully, again, the best is yet to come. If you could reallocate your practice time from this season, what is one thing you might have taken the time to emphasize more of with this group?
Yeah, that's I don't know. I don't know if I can really answer that one all that well. I do think maybe just being able to work on the doubles a bit more. A lot of that we were kind of hand tied with a lot of the kids traveling a lot, that playing the pro events. There's very few times I felt like, especially in the fall, where we were all together as one, and even some in the spring with some injuries and some sicknesses and whatnot. I feel like there's oftentimes days where, someone's maybe out of practice, can't work on the doubles. But yeah, I think overall I'm very pleased with how we went about everything. And yeah, we've, as I said earlier, just the way we bring it in the practices is a big part of the consistency of our program over the years.
Yeah, no, and again, it's the repeated success that stands out. And as you've built your roster over the course of your time at Texas A&M, obviously you've done different things, whether it's players you've recruited like Mary and Mia, and again, all these players who you get from the start of their careers, bring in someone like Nicole or obviously Selma, many different examples you can choose from. how big of a role now in that roster construction does the portal play? Obviously, it opens up this week, and I know you're focused on your current roster in this season, but is the portal part of how you think about roster construction now?
Yeah, it's a big part of it now. We're all trying to get used to this new system of how the transfer portal, how it's evolved, and then you throw in the NIL piece to it, and we've definitely been Hawkeye in the transfer portal here the last day or two. I've got it pulled up on my computer right now, so my guess is there's going to be more to come, especially after these final rounds play out, and we're all kind of still waiting to see how this house settlement closes out with the number of players. We already, are expecting a change there, but at the end of the day, nothing's been quite finalized there. But yeah, it's you want to bring in the right transfer. We've been pretty fortunate to bring in the right ones, and yeah, we'll keep our eyes open, and yeah, we're working on the recruiting every day. As my old coach used to always say, recruiting's a lot like shaving. You got to do it every day, or you start to look like a bum. So.
All right, I'll shave for tomorrow's interviews. I got it. No, I should have mentioned Carson, by the way. Other impactful transfers you might have grabbed over the years. Some I've heard of her. I'm going to ask you to put on the pundit hat for a second here because obviously there are a lot of good matches here this weekend, and I know you are focused on your own right now. But if you had the opportunity to lock in on another, which would you pick? North Carolina, NC State, Virginia, Tennessee, LSU, Ohio State, Duke, Auburn, Oklahoma State, Stanford, Michigan, Texas, Georgia, Cal.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking me which one's the most intriguing. Is that
Yeah.
true? Yeah, yeah. In some ways, I find the Oklahoma State Stanford one intriguing to me. So, I think it's two teams that are, I definitely wouldn't say under the radar. They're lower ranked probably than what they should be. So, I think it's interesting that they're playing each other. And yeah, there's a lot of great matches. Of course, 8 and 9 with Duke and Auburn. That's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, for some reason that Oklahoma State Stanford one has my attention. I guess we've been in college tennis for so long, and Stanford, whether they're ranked one or whether they are ranked this season, everyone always has them in the back of their mind just to see. Are they gonna? I guess we won it last year, being ranked 13. They've definitely won it some years with some pretty low rankings as well. So.
Yeah, no, it's a very good pick. I like it, and I think we all had to turn to the rule book to see how is this going to be determined. Like, what are we going to do? Who's hosting? Like, am I hosting? And so, no, it's a fun one to watch. Well, certainly, again, a lot of people excited for your match. You're taking on obviously the UCLA Bruins, some experienced faces at the top of that roster as well. I'm curious what you view as their biggest strength and what it's going to take for your team to knock them off, advance in this tournament.
Yeah, I don't know their team all that well, to be honest. We've played we played the Kate Fockey some at the All American this fall, and that's a pretty scary number four, at least the way she was playing at the All American. She was hitting the big forehand, and yeah, it'll be an interesting one there. Yeah, I know they're a very talented group and are coming off of a good road win, and yeah, I'm just for our from our viewpoint, just really just focus on us. As long as everybody's showing up at every position, all three doubles, all six singles, competing hard and in a good mindset, and controlling things we can control and having great composure out there. That's ultimately I feel like what's going to come down to is how we handle those types of things. I know UCLA is an excellent team. I feel like if we take care of our ends, I'll be very pleased.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun one to watch, certainly. And yeah, again, one of the hardest things to do, maybe the hardest thing to do in college tennis over the last half decade, try and get a win in College Station. And that's a testament to what you and your program obviously have accomplished over the last half decade. Thus, it is always a pleasure to get the chance to chat with you, head coach Mark Weaver, wishing you and the Aggies luck, obviously, here this weekend. And always grateful that you take the time to chat. Thank you again, coach.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it.
Recording.